Jermaine Dupree, everybody. Man, I mean, only in Atlanta do you get 2 mayors on a Tuesday night for the price of one. This is some Black History Month stuff going on, I can tell. Atlanta's just different. Hello, Atlanta! What a crowd tonight. It's so exciting to see Atlanta represented here in so many ways. We've always done these events in the morning, but this is Atlanta. And what better way to represent Atlanta than all of us having a night out together, right? So first, I'd like to acknowledge a few of the folks who made tonight possible. James Quincy and Coca-Cola, Michael Russell and the members of the Atlanta Committee for Progress, and Hala Mautamog and the Woodruff Art Center. Would you all please stand again? Thank you for hosting tonight. Atlanta City Council President Doug Shipman and the world's best City Council. Atlanta City Council, would you please stand? Please stand, council members. Thank you all for your partnership and leadership. For the members of the Georgia General Assembly, are any assembly members here? Please stand for our state leaders. There they are. To my colleagues serving with me on the Atlanta Regional Commission, would all of you please stand? Anna, you too, as the CEO. Some back there, yep. To Atlanta Public School Board members, Fulton County and DeKalb County commissioners, municipal and county judges, mayors and city council members from around the region, and all other elected officials, will all of you please stand and be recognized, all of our elected officials. And we also have members of our International Consular Corps here tonight. Would you all please stand? Our international leaders, ambassadors, and consular generals. Thank you all. And now to my City of Atlanta senior leadership team and my cabinet. Will all of y'all please stand? These are the folks that move Atlanta forward on a daily basis. To Mayor Bill Campbell, Miss Valerie Jackson, and Sandra Massell, will you all please stand? These are previous mayors and first ladies. And to all of my friends and family, my mother, my sister, and my daughter, thank you for always standing with me. Would you all please stand and give my mom and sister and everybody a round of applause, y'all. Well, y'all ain't got it. Oh, there's my mama. All right. To everybody here tonight, all of the nonprofits, advisory boards, business owners, neighborhood and community leaders, thank you and welcome to the 2025 State of the City Address, everybody. So I want to take a moment to recognize the life and legacy of Georgia's only president, President Jimmy Carter. For 4 decades, I've seen the impact of Jimmy and Rosalind Carter's lives on our city, our state, and the entire world. So to the Carter family, thank you for sharing Jimmy and Rosalind with us for so long. Let's give one more round of applause for the life and legacy of the one and only President Jimmy Carter. President Carter once said, "I have one life and one chance to make it count for something. I'm free to choose that something." We all get to choose that something also, and I've known mine for a long time now. Since I was 16 years old, I knew I wanted to be the mayor of Atlanta because I love this city and I love its people. And my pastor, who you heard earlier, he often reminds me that love ought to look like something. Tonight, you're going to see how our love has moved Atlanta forward. But before that, I have a question for you, Atlanta. Do you know how much you're loved? Because I'm not sure you know just how awesome you actually are. Seriously, Atlanta is the place to be, and people have been pouring out their love for this greatest city in the world. Money Magazine has named us the best place to live. Black Enterprise Magazine named Atlanta the best city to start a business. We've been named the best place to start a career, the most educated city in the United States, and the best city for black home buyers. And if you had any doubt, Atlanta still influences everything. Three of the 7 biggest movies last year were filmed right here in Atlanta. And oh, by the way, Atlanta's own Killer Mike swept the Grammys last year too. Atlanta influences everything. Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport is still the world's busiest and most efficient airport. And if you missed it this morning, we announced the newest general manager who will lead our airport into the future. The world flies through Atlanta. Culture runs through Atlanta. And Fitch is betting on Atlanta by giving us a AAA bond rating, the highest possible and our highest bond rating ever. Atlanta is the best bet for the future, and everybody knows it. All of this makes me proud to be an Atlantan, proud to be your mayor. And I am proud to stand here tonight and reaffirm that the state of our city is strong. I'm so proud of this city. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into this group project, from our small businesses to the Fortune 500 companies, from Atlanta Public Schools to our youth organizations, from the Atlanta City Council to the nonprofits. Each of you has worked to improve the lives of Atlantans and move Atlanta forward. But don't think that the work is over. This project's due date is circled for the year 2030, so be ready to get a few more assignments from me for the next 4 years. Before we hand out those new assignments, let's see just how far we've come. 3 years ago, I was standing on a stage at Georgia Tech's Bobby Dodd Stadium taking the oath of office. Many of you were there with me that day, suffering in the bitter cold, if y'all remember. It was during COVID. I knew we had work to do. The task in front of me and the city council and this administration was not small, and I knew I couldn't do it alone. We were still battling the pandemic, and City Hall was mostly closed. People couldn't pay their water bills or get their permits. Our infrastructure projects were backed up, streets were not getting paved, potholes were not getting filled, trash services were inconsistent, scandals had eroded faith in government from years past, violent crime had risen, public safety departments were understaffed, underpaid, and without a proper place for training. And to make matters worse, some folks wanted to split off Buckhead and start their own city. The city was fractured and in need of some course correction. Between that day at Georgia Tech and now, I've made a lot of promises to the people of Atlanta. Each of them focused directly on moving Atlanta forward together. I promise to open up City Hall, to supercharge our city services, and to restore your trust in our government. and we have kept those promises. Within the first 100 days, City Hall was reopened to the public. We launched Operation Clean Sweep to get our trash and recycling collection back on track. We reinstated Mayor Shirley Franklin's pothole posse, and we have filled over 30,000 potholes, y'all. I know you might find one or two left, but 30,000 got by us. We did that. Through this work and more, we fulfilled another promise that Atlanta has always been and will continue to be one city with one bright future. And while our city continues to improve operational efficiency, we must also ensure that our government continues to operate ethically. Just last week, we introduced the Employees' Bill of Rights, with more announcements coming that will reinforce our commitment to ethical government. From day one, this administration has been committed to a government with the highest ethical standards and free of waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. That commitment is absolute from me. Now, how many of you remember Snowpocalypse and Snowmageddon? Some of y'all lived here through that. 11 years ago, the city of Atlanta made national news for its failure to handle a winter weather event. When I took office as mayor, I was determined to never put you in that position again. Each year, our teams prep for winter months in advance of this season. This January, APD, AFRD, ATLDOT, Public Works, Watershed, Forestry, and more were on the front lines. When I say love ought to look like something, this is what we mean. Love looks like these folks working around the clock to salt our roads, clear our streets, keep the water flowing, opening our warming centers, and keeping us safe. And after they did it, the first time, they had to suit up and do it again the very next week. And so we have a few of those folks here with us today. Will all of you hardworking folks please stand and be recognized? Stand up. Thank you. And because of their work, Atlanta can forget about Snowmageddon. When crime was on the rise in 2021, I promised you safer streets. Another promise kept. Since 2022, homicides in Atlanta are down 26%. We've made significant investments into all first responders to once again attract the best in the nation. And yes, we have ensured that the next generation of first responders will have a state-of-the-art training facility at our Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. We promise to address the root causes of crime, because not every problem needs to be solved by an officer with a badge and a gun. Love for our city looks like historic investments in non-policing alternatives and pre-arrest diversion services. It looks like APD's CARE unit and HOPE team and the opening of the Center for Diversion and Services. And love looks like providing after-school opportunities at midnight basketball and at our At Promise centers, which have resulted in reduced crime in the surrounding neighborhoods. And we can't forget about the Atlanta Fire Rescue Department. We've set aside millions of dollars to replace and upgrade our fire trucks and equipment. And we've renovated and built new fire stations across the entire city. But I bet most folks don't realize that our firefighters spend most of their time on EMS calls. When someone is having a health emergency, Oftentimes, the first people to show up are our firefighters, trained in emergency medical services, and our 911 operators. In just the past year, E911 has cut their response time in half, everybody. Thank you. So please give another round of applause to show our appreciation to Chief Shearbaum, Chief Smith, APD, AFRD, E911, and the entire city for keeping us safe. Y'all like the police and firefighters. Y'all get a big round of applause. Voters overwhelmingly approved historic funding for our infrastructure needs, and we are now investing those dollars directly into the future of our city. Much of that starts with the Atlanta Department of Transportation. I take special pride in ATL DOT because during my time on the Atlanta City Council, I created this new department to address inefficiencies in our transportation services. And they are putting in the work. Just in the last year, they've upgraded or installed over 150 ADA ramps, nearly 30,000 feet of sidewalks, and resurfaced roads, including Campbellton Road, University Avenue, Mount Perrin, Marietta Street, DeKalb Avenue, and more. Yeah, you can clap for a couple paved roads. And I promised you 10,000 new street lights to make our streets safer for everyone. ATL DOT didn't just keep that part in that promise, but in partnership with Georgia Power, we tripled it by installing over 30,000 street lights. And all of that work, and all of that work has led to a 50% reduction in vehicular and pedestrian fatalities. We are literally saving lives, y'all. Now, last year, Atlanta was hit with the perfect storm of water main breaks. Much of our water infrastructure is nearly 100 years old. This is a system that we inherited, but now it's our responsibility to start fixing it. The Department of Watershed Management is already on the job, including the use of AI technology to detect and address potential issues proactively. And thanks to our federal delegation, the city is receiving significant support from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to make our water system more resilient. We've made and kept a lot of promises over the years, and I won't get to all of them tonight, but I'm going to quickly hit a few others. We promised to create the Atlanta Department of Labor and Employee Services. This new department serves as our advocate for workers across the city and as a liaison to our labor unions. Our administration has negotiated on behalf of workers at the airport, at MARTA, and others. We have a few of our labor leaders and representatives from the Atlanta Department of Labor here today. Would you all please give them a round of applause for their efforts to protect and uplift our workforce. Please stand, all of you labor leaders. Gina. Now, we also promised to support our small businesses, the lifeblood of our economy. And we've delivered millions of dollars in grants and support through Invest Atlanta and the Atlanta Beltline. We promised to bring Atlanta to the water. Well, bring your paddle because we've opened our first park on the Chattahoochee River. We promised to build an art center. Well, bring your paintbrushes and canvases because we've opened the Pearl Clegg and Zarin Burnett Center for Culture and Creativity in the West End. We promised to build an esports lab. Well, bring your controllers and headsets because we've opened our first 2 esports labs in the city. We promised our senior citizens a recreation center of their own, and we've broken ground on the John A. White Golf and Senior Activity Center. We promised a sustainable city. We've more than doubled our solar buildings, have one of the largest green fleets in the nation, and we are working to make our buildings more sustainable and more resilient. We've promised to expand our parks and green space. We've acquired nearly 600 acres of protected green space. That's more than the previous 12 years combined. Also, we finalized a partnership with the Atlanta Public School System to bring their parks and playgrounds and spaces into our network. This immediately increases park accessibility across Atlanta. Thank you to the Atlanta Public Schools and the Atlanta Department of Parks and Recreation for this meaningful partnership for our youth. And you all know that I care deeply about our youth. During my very first State of the City, I made the biggest promise of my administration. It is my North Star. I promised to make Atlanta the best place in the country to raise a child. For this city, love looks like $2.6 million donated to our youth-serving organizations. Love looks like over $22 million funded for early childhood education. Love looks like 14,000 young people hired through our summer youth employment program. And this administration handing out over $10 million in college scholarships already. And while you're clapping, make sure you hire some of these summer youth and donate to these college scholarships, okay? Keep on clapping. There you go. We're going to get it done. Because you know that we have made every year the year of the youth. And with all of our help together, APS just celebrated the highest graduation rate in their history. It's good, y'all. It's good. But what else do we mean when we say we want to be the best place to raise a child? How do we measure success? I start by thinking about what every parent wants and what I wanted for my own daughter. It means an affordable place to call home with healthy food on the table every night. It means safe streets, free from the oppression of gangs, guns, and violent crime. It means a neighborhood with parks, shops, activities, arts, and community spaces. It means a city that provides opportunities to all people. All that starts with housing. I promise to build or retain 20,000 units of affordable housing, and we are well on track to exceed that goal. We are building or have families already moved into over 11,000 housing units. Our Housing Help Center has helped seniors and legacy residents stay in their homes, and we are deeply committed to helping our homeless population. Through our Housing First strategy, we have provided more homes to the homeless than at any time in our city's history. Love looks like opening rapid housing developments like the Melody, Bonnet Venture, and the Ralph David House. Later this year, we will open a new modular 100-unit development called the Waterworks. Remember earlier that I shouted out the world's greatest city council? Well, together, we've committed over $60 million to get folks off the street and into places they can call home. Thank you, City Council, for your leadership. And all those homes need affordable, healthy food on their kitchen tables. Food access is a major priority to this city. We fought to keep open stores that were in jeopardy of closing, and we've allocated over $1 million to revitalize the Sweet Auburn market. Last year, we offered several big grocery stores incentives to move into some of our neighborhoods. They said no. So we promised to build our own. I'm so excited to announce that we've partnered with Savvy Provisions to open not one, but 2 new grocery stores this year, Atlanta. Now, I hope you noticed some of the art and decor around the lobby tonight. I especially hope you saw the display with the logo for these new grocery stores, Azalea's Market. This new grocery store concept, along with the art and other displays, were designed by students at SCAD. Some of those students are here tonight. Students, would you please stand and help create this concept with us? Isn't that beautiful? Atlanta is truly a hub for creativity. The work for affordable housing, food security, and more will continue to happen at the most local level, the neighborhood level, because I firmly believe that the neighborhood is the most significant unit of change in our city. Atlanta succeeds when we have safe, healthy, thriving, connected neighborhoods. I'm here to make this vision true for all of Atlanta, for every district, every MPU, and every neighborhood. That's our mission. We are transforming neighborhoods, starting with downtown. We've been building momentum with Centennial Yards at the Gulch, the opening of the Atlanta Tech Village in South Downtown, and the first phase of the newly imagined Civic Center. Add in there the Stitch, 2 Peachtree, and the West End Mall redevelopment, and we are bringing downtown back, y'all. We promised to revitalize Thomasville Heights after assisting the families at Forest Cove. We've completed a master plan to bring housing, food access, and parks into the neighborhood. And this year, we'll begin construction on the first new housing development in over a generation in Thomasville Heights. We are making progress in the Donald Lee Hollowell corridor, from Georgia Tech's new Science Square all the way to the groundbreaking of the 2,000-unit development of the former Bowen Homes sites. We're redeveloping, yeah, we can clap for the old Bowen Homes coming back. We're redeveloping the former Gun Club Park along Proctor Creek, and we are on track to complete the final segment of the Proctor Creek Greenway by the World Cup. So that means in less than 18 months, you'll be able to take trails from the Atlanta Beltline all the way to the Chattahoochee River. And of course, we can look forward to the FIFA World Cup coming next year. Y'all ready for FIFA World Cup? So we'll be hosting 8 matches and tens of hundreds of millions of thousands of people, visitors, for an entire month, bringing nearly $1 billion of economic impact to this city. It's gonna be big, y'all. But I want to ensure that when the World Cup hits Atlanta next year, that it doesn't just happen to Atlanta, that it happens with Atlanta. That's why we launched Showcase Atlanta in partnership with Arthur Blank, Carol Tomei, and our Showcase ambassadors. Showcase Atlanta will live beyond the World Cup to ensure that when a major event comes to Atlanta, that Atlantans truly are the ones that benefit. Because that should be the story of Atlanta. Our successes should translate into uplifting more Atlantans who need our help. That's the group project, a conviction that what impacts one of us impacts all of us. So my challenge for you tonight is this: run, don't walk, to tell your friends and family about what you've heard here tonight. Don't leave it up to the social media algorithms to tell our story. Go tell them about the city that loves its people, and that love looks like our watershed employees leaving their homes in the middle of the night, stepping into the cold to repair a water main break so a city can wake up with running water in the morning. Love looks like firefighters battling raging winds and torrential rains, using boats to pull families from rising floodwaters during Hurricane Helene. Love looks like Officer Lamar Jacobs eating lunch at Peachtree Center, hearing gunfire and running toward the danger, shielding strangers. When most of us would run away from the danger, he runs towards it. Officer Jacobs, would you please stand and allow us to thank you for your commitment to keeping our city safe? Okay. Thank you, Officer Jacobs. I love this city, and I love its people. And while I may be the drawing circles mayor, sometimes love looks like fighting for what you believe in. When they tried to tear our city in two, we fought back and kept our city whole. When they tried to stop Cop City, we fought back and built the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center. And when they try to tell us that diversity and inclusion are something to run away from, we will fight back and show them that our diversity is what makes us strongest. Because look around this room. Look around and tell me what you see, besides T.I. and Killer Mike. And J.D., tell me what you see. People from all different walks of life, people from different countries, different cities, different neighborhoods, people with different beliefs and religions, people with different abilities or disabilities, people of different genders and sexual orientations. Just people. People worth fighting for. And I've got more fight in me. I love this city, and I'll never stop fighting for it. Not today, not tomorrow, and not when I leave City Hall in 2030, baby. One thing has been made clear here tonight, that I'm a man of my word. When I make promises, the group project sets in motion and we get the job done. So hear me clearly when I say this. I promise that in Atlanta, our love will look like something. And love looks like fighting every day for progress and breaking down barriers to opportunity. Love looks like taking care of our youth and our seniors. Love looks like affordable homes and good schools. Love looks like clearing our streets of gangs and guns. Love looks like feeding the hungry and housing the homeless. Love looks like a diverse group project fighting for all people. And join me, Atlanta, in this fight, because we are a shining beacon of hope in this nation, a city where all feel welcome and all feel love. Come on, Atlanta. Let me hear you, ATL. Join me in this group project, Atlanta. God bless you all, and God bless the city of Atlanta. Thank you, everybody.